Today, it's Texas Tech and Stephen F. Austin. And now with all the pregame analysis from the best, this is KMAC Red Raider Nation's Countdown to Kickoff. Sponsored by Terry County Tractor.
Welcome to Red Raider Nation's Countdown to Kickoff late night edition.
Yeah.
This is like prime time for you,
I know, right?
None of that 10:30 in the morning
This is
stuff.
the closest I'll get to anchoring the Friday at 10 o'clock.
That's 100% not true, especially in the summer. All right, don't worry. If you're waiting for Jimmy Kimmel Live, you will see it in its entirety after we are done. Until then, our own comedian here, Eric Kelly, joins us to preview Texas Tech's home opener against Stephen F. Austin. Coming up, Red Raiders with plenty to be happy about after that season-opening win against Houston, but the offensive line also knows it has some things to improve heading into tomorrow.
Also ahead, we visit with West Texas native and SFA head coach Kobe Carthel for a breakdown of his Lumberjacks.
And later, EverythingLubbock.com's Phil Mayer is back to fill in the blanks.
Ah, yeah, the trio is back together again.
We were a little lost without you in studio last week. I'm just going to let you know.
A compliment to start off the night.
There you go. All right, Texas Tech and SFA meeting up for just the fourth time in program history tomorrow. The Red Raiders scoring 58 or more in those three previous meetings and winning those by a combined average of 52 points. Kind of figure that.
Yeah.
You know, both teams do go into this contest 1-0 on the season. Red Raider defense standing out with 4 interceptions and shutting out Houston in the second half down at NRG Stadium. The Lumberjacks, meanwhile, opened up 2021 with a 20-10 conference win over Tarleton State. SFA 6-4 a year ago, with those 4 losses all coming against FCS schools.
First of all, coached Kobe Carthel. Got a lot of respect for Kobe, and I've known Kobe for a while from Friona, so everybody in that town will be here, I know, supporting him. West Texas is a really good football coach, a staff that has a lot of continuity. They've been together for a while. They will play hard. They will play extremely hard. All you have to do is flip on the tape of them playing all the Division I teams they've played over the last couple of years and watch how they play. They play some of their best football, so we absolutely know that and we expect that.
And that win helps Tech improve to 9-1 in its last 10 against Houston. Red Raiders also good against the FCS since 1978, 24-1 in those games. Houston Baptist, though, almost changed that last year's season opener. Tech survived 35-33. They got lucky. A couple FCS teams, not so much. Or FCS showed they are not to be looked past in 2021. 6 wins over FBS teams in week 1 alone, highlighted by that Montana 13-7 win we showed you. And several other FCS teams played close games, including 3 one-score games against Kansas, which doesn't count, OSU, and Iowa State.
Stephen F., they're not a team to be taken lightly. If you saw week 1, how many FCS teams won and how many FCS teams were within a one-score game. So no team is to be taken lightly. You know, we respect everybody. So we're not coming into this game thinking that it's going to be, you know, a walk in the park and that they're just going to let us win the game. We still have to go take it.
No, they're not a Big 12 opponent, like you said. I mean, we still respect them and we still understand that we have to come out and execute and do everything we're coached throughout the week and execute our game plan on both sides of the ball to make sure we win the game.
And that offensive line looking to improve on one aspect of its game against the Lumberjacks. Certainly wasn't the run game when they played the Cougs. Red Raiders averaged more than 5 yards a carry against Houston, but they did give up 3 sacks in the passing game. That was against a Houston team that was among the best in the country a year ago. SFA had 3 sacks in their opener. Probably won't bring the same amount of pressure as the Cougs.
I think we do need to clean up our pass protection. I think that was pretty obvious to anyone watching. We gave up way too many sacks for what we expect from ourselves as the O-line. I think that's something we'll continue to work on this week and make sure that we give Tyler time back there to throw the ball.
Obviously, have to pass protect better. We have to pass off twists better in the line game. And I think Houston's a really good defensive front. They're very active. They're very athletic. And they did a nice job in terms of line movement, which is something they hadn't shown previously. And sometimes when you give up sacks, the quarterback's giving up sacks. I think 2 of the 3 sacks, the quarterback gave them up.
Now, who carry the ball behind that offensive front? Usually it's Sir Roderick Thompson, no question, but his status for the game still in question. He was cleared for contact in practice earlier this week, but in his place, Taj Brooks went out and showed, regardless of Thompson's availability going forward, he deserves some touches as well. Game 1, he carried the ball 15 times for 134 yards and 2 touchdowns as he continues to show how productive he can be in that lead back role.
He's become a little bit more explosive. I think that's something that Coach Smith has really challenged him in the off season to be an explosive runner and to hit more home runs and be explosive. And you saw 2 of them.
I wasn't really making those big runs in the games and stuff like that. I was like, my average per carry was like maybe 3.2 yards, and now it's like 8.9 yards a carry this past game, and it's just having fun and just making those runs, being explosive, making dudes miss in the open field, and I think that's the reason why I'm kind of getting more explosive.
All right, fill in the blank time, joined by Phil Mayer, the mayor of Red Raider Nation. Phil, Brooks ran the ball well, but as good as that run game looked, you were equally impressed by blank.
The run defense. We heard all summer about how good Texas Tech's linebackers are, and their performance Saturday lived up to the hype. Houston finished the day with 77 rushing yards on 35 carries, which amounts to a more than stellar 2.2 yards per attempt. I talked last week about how important it was to contain Cougar quarterback Clayton Tune, and they did that to the tune of 28 yards on 13 carries. That bodes well for matchups down the line like TCU. You might remember what their quarterback Max Duggan did to the Tech defense last year. And it really was an all-around effort against the run from this defense last weekend. You know Colin Schooler and Krishawn Merriweathers are both excellent playmakers, and they combined for 17 tackles and 3.5 tackles for loss. But also you got the defensive tackles eating up space, the defensive backs coming up to the line to make hits. There's a whole lot of experience on this defense, and I think you're going to see that show up against the run all season.
To say Texas Tech's going to have to dig in against Duggan.
Everybody's got puns. I'll try to.
QB puns all night. Let's go. Beat that, Jimmy Kimmel.
All right. Thanks, Phil. We'll check in with you in a minute. Time for our first break here on Countdown to Kickoff. Still to come, we break out the whiteboards to break down this matchup in another edition of Board Games.
But up next, the head coach of the Stephen F. Austin Lumberjacks, Colby Carthel, joins us on the late night edition. Grab your coffee, I think, of Countdown to Kickoff.